Shalom, shalom and welcome. This is The Inward Man, episode 13. Let's get started. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words that are stirring what's inside of me. For this moment in time, I want to talk about work schedules, getting busy. Yes, my brothers and sisters, work schedules, getting busy. There's a lot of talk about end times. There's a lot of talk about an awakening nation. There's a lot of talk about a final and greater exodus. There's a lot of talk about unity. There's a lot of talk about many different things as it relates to this set-apart life, and as well as end times, as we see the conditions of this planet degrade. But the Most High have made some promises to his children. Many of us look forward to a final exodus. Many of us look forward to that day that we are with Yahushua Mashiach, reigning as our sovereign, or as some would say, king. But these things come, my brothers and sisters. Between now and then, there's work to be done. There are work schedules, whether we realize it or not. There are work schedules that must come to the forefront and will, to those who are drawn to be used by the Most High to fulfill the final exodus, to fulfill the things that have been promised. There are messengers that will go forth, executing and rendering set-apart instructions as well as judgment, echoing the words from the Most High. Yes, there are work schedules in these last days. There are things that are expected of us. And it's time for us to realize getting busy is not an option. But we must seek to discern the face of being busy. Busy doing what, when, where, how, and with whom. Consider Noah. He didn't just stumble on the ark. Let me just read just a little taste. In Genesis 6:14 through 16, it says, "Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and out with tar. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark and complete it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks." Does this describe work? Does this describe something that the Most High gave Noah to do? I submit to you, just as in the days of Noah. We always read when they say, just as in the days of Noah and the days of Lot, we think that's just talking about how they was caught up by surprise. But there are a lot of things that they can connect with. The days of Noah required work. It required getting busy, doing what he was instructed to do. And so it is also in these last days, my brothers and sisters. Yes, it's similar to the scripture talks about, just like in the days of Noah, how they ate, drank, and so forth. And we understand that. But as the scriptures can be a flowing river of water, there's even more to get. The days of Noah required work. It required getting busy. What about the same for Moses or Moshe? Let me read to you Exodus chapter 3, verse 7 through 10. It reads, "And Yahuwah said, I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Mitzrayim," Egypt, depending on what version of scripture you read, "and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Mitzrayites, and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and his Hivites and the Jebusites. And now see, the cry of the children of Yasharal has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Mizrahites oppressed them." Again, what version you read might say Egyptians oppressed them. "And now come I, sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Yasharal, out of Mitzrayim." Does this sound like work? Does this sound like the Most High was giving Musha some instructions? Let them know that, hey, you got some work to do. I got some things that you need to do. And this wasn't going to happen in an instant. He didn't say, okay, I'm going to lift you up and just beam you and set you down in Egypt or Mitzrayim. So sending him to Pharaoh required him maybe packing a lunch, but preparing himself and taking that journey, working. And he was on a time schedule. Now, granted, he didn't say you need to be there by the 6th month, the 3rd day, at the mid-hour or anything like that. But we know that there were details that we may not even talk about. Some might say, well, yeah, we can't get into that. My point is this, my brothers and sisters. As end times come to be, as it ramps up, it's easy for us to talk about what Moses did or what Noah did or what others have done that are mentioned in scriptures. But it's time for us to recognize the need to get to work, to get busy, as the Most High directs us. So the key thing is not jumping the gun. Many have jumped the gun over anxiously, unlearned, make mistakes and stumble. But the blood of the Lamb is forgiving. It brings that atonement so that we can repent and seek forgiveness and rise up with the strength and audacity to press stronger and forward into set apartness, work schedules. Let me read something else, my brothers and sisters. Isaiah 11:12 says, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yasharal and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Again, work schedules. This requires movement. If he's assembling you, you're going from one point to the next till you get to that final destination. Jeremiah 20, that was Isaiah 11:12. Jeremiah 23:3 and 4 says, therefore I shall gather the remnant of my flock out of all the lands where I have driven them, and shall bring them back to their folds, and they shall bear an increase. And I shall raise up shepherds over them, and they shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be discouraged, nor shall they be lacking, declares Yahuwah. He says, I shall raise up shepherds. How many of us are recognizing or realizing that the Most High, in his discipline, in his refinement, he's raising shepherds to lead over his children? He's raising these shepherds. And this is done by him working in us, through us, one towards another, and through his Spirit working in us, providing the convictions necessary for us to be humble and yield to what is indeed set apart. A shepherd being refined and disciplined knows how to listen to his sheep or her sheep. A shepherd knows how to pay attention and respond. You see, my brothers and sisters, there will be times when even the shepherd must admit to the mistake. Why? Because the shepherd would demonstrate how we are to engage the Most High, how we are to walk in obedience, discerning his words and responding to him. Many people fail to realize that. They'll say, I'm not listening to no man. No man can teach me. Because they take this text and think that man cannot teach another man or woman or child. But they forget so often and so easily that it says, how can they learn unless they hear? How can they hear unless there's a preacher? They seem to forget the many members in the body. They seem to forget there are responsibilities that we have. There's work that each of us have that can influence another, making it iron sharpening iron, or helping those who come after us to learn the things that are necessary for the building up of a set apart nation. A gathering of a remnant. And many people look at this remnant and they don't really know what that number is. Nobody really know what that specific number is. But I say to you this, my brothers and sisters, if you compare 10 million to 7.2 billion on the planet, 10 million could be a remnant. Remember, this final Exodus, this is the last hurrah, so to speak. This is the last opportunities to draw close to the Most High. For after this, soon is Judgment Day. After the final Exodus and the physical return of Yahushua Mashiach, Judgment Day is right around the corner. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, do you believe there's a final Exodus? There's work to be done. Begin to discuss these matters. Begin to try to identify what is expected from you, for those around you, for me. Let me also read Ezekiel 34, verses 11 through 17. It reads, "For thus says the Master Yahuwah, see, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep. So I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they are scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. I shall bring them out from the peoples and gather them from the lands and shall bring them to their own land. And I shall feed them on the mountains of Yasharal, in the valleys, in all the dwellings of the land. In good pasture I shall feed them, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Yasharal. They shall lie there in good fold and feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Yasharal. I shall feed my flock and make them lie down, declares Yahuwah, Master Yahuwah. I shall seek out the lost and bring back the stray. I shall bind up the broken and strengthen what was sick, but the fat and the strong I shall destroy. I shall feed them with right ruling. And as for you, O my flock, thus saith the Master Yahuwah, see, I am judging between sheep and between rams and goats." My brothers and sisters, the things that the Most High is saying he's going to do, people saying, I'm waiting on Yah. I'm going to wait on Yah. Let us not forget that we are his vessels. Our bodies are temples of the Most High. We are his vessels. His spirit works in us, through us, one towards another, through his chosen leaders. Let us not forget when he's saying what he's going to do, he usually and has in times past used others, directed others. Are we not aware of all the many people that the Most High have used? Do we not think that he could use us? There will be people guided, directed. Each of us will find ourselves, if we are indeed amongst the drawn of Yahuwah, brought into a situation to realize there's work to be done. It's time to get busy. The final Exodus is a process, but I am compelled to believe it's a process that will bring a mass gathering of set-apart children consisting of both Hebrews and Gentiles that are made one by Yahushua HaMashiach to the very corners of the nations that we are in, and then we will journey to that appointed place in the region known as the Promised Land. And I believe the central point will be the set-apart mountain where Moses received the Ten Commandments. The set-apart mountain, which is currently called Jabal Allahs. So are you ready to, at the very least, begin discussing what could possibly be my work schedule as it relates to these final days while I am yet alive? Getting busy. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I busy or am I complacent? Am I slothful? The Most High has promised discipline. He's promised refinement. And this we will witness. And we will witness the lazy, the slothful. Those that are refined will rise up with the energy, the power and the fortitude, the strength to do what is expected of them. And we will see ourselves coming away from the non-existence, the non-working, the slothful. Getting busy, my brothers and sisters. We will find ourselves not just going in circles, but working towards the building up of an awakening nation, an awakening family. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, work schedules, getting busy. Discuss these matters with one another and find out, seek to discern that the skills that you have received, that each of us have received, came with a purpose, and there are work schedules ahead of us. Until next time, be encouraged. Shalom, shalom, shalom.